ludicrous that people like assume that that's what was going on, but it's the internet, and they assume that everybody's insane because most of us are, honestly.
Well, you are. You put a hamster up your ass and sent the video to Aaron M. Holte, allegedly.
That's too far.
Guard and broom wielder. Good logic.
All right, here we go.
Complaining of being hungry and dirty, and it's like if their clothes aren't being changed in a number of days, well, that tells me they're not being bathed or washed, and it breaks.
So, but you forgot all this. Now it's like
she knew everything, but now she forgets. She's silent on everything, on all the evil. She looks the other way and tells her audience to support this guy. He's a good guy.
My heart. So
right. Although, I mean, I'll tell you right now, when you talk about
what changed, does Nick Rekieta have some dirt on her? Like he's like, I'm gonna release this. Janny for clout? Probably.
Being bathed or being washed. You're a newborn. You're a mother of a newborn, right? 6-year-olds bathe themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like you say, yeah.
Okay. Just throw them a sponge and some soap.
Yeah, you're like go. Yeah, by the time they're 4 or 5 years old, they're bathing themselves. So as far as their failure to hygiene, I mean,
remember this, oldie?
Remember this, golden oldie, absolute bullshit.
I mean, yeah.
Is a 5-year-old really going to be like, sorry, Mom, I got to go shower. Be right back. Like, I think most kids are going to let themselves be. Like, they're not going to rush to bathe themselves. They're going to be.
Where was this question?
I'm afraid you've had a bit too much to think there, Chrissy. Yeah. We're going to need to stop that free thinking, and we're going to need you to join the cult and sweep. So, this is a wild one.
Strap in. This is crazy what we're going to hear here.
I think I'm just such a prude. Like I almost wouldn't even let my friend hold my baby because she had been like smoking cigarettes. I'm like, did I not go?
You know, that's probably a wise decision to protect your child. She has to couch it in that, like, that's obviously wrong. She's an incel prude, Scandinavian prude. She's wrong. Rekieta is righteous to blow crack smoke in his child's face.
Wait.
It's so embarrassing, man.
Ash. Chrissy just lost her job with Compound Media.
Yeah.
So she needs the clicks.
She's desperate.
Woo! Exposed. That's why. That's what changed. All of a sudden, bang.
It's interesting.
Same as Gino. Ash. Gino.
I mean, it's pretty transparent what's going on.
They lost their jobs at Compound Media, and boom, take down Aaron, join Rekieta.
It is, though. It is a complete 180. Where she was before in that clip we just showed and where she is now.
But isn't it crazy how it just happened?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Interesting when you really get down to like what the state.
But by the way, why would you jump on this side for clicks?
Why is Rekieta's body language is so bad? He looks so guilty. She looks guilty and ashamed that she's sweeping for this.
She should be.
Like, you can just tell by their body language that they know what they're doing isn't right and it's actually evil, and they're ashamed of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell.
Oh, they do. You're right. She's like, it's uncomfortable. And remember, the chat, it all makes sense now. The chat was like, Chrissy, why? How could you do this to us?
Considers like child maltreatment.
This is anti-clout, by the way. This is the most negative.
And child neglect. And when you put rules down on paper, they often don't make sense. And this is the boon.
Oh, there he was. There he was.
They often don't make sense.
Out.
And this is the
like, what a thing to say.
And the polycule ring, by the way.
When we put rules, there's the polycule.
He has 2 rings now.
Yes, he has the swinger ring and his wedding ring.
Oh, man.
Which is grime.
The boon and bane of the family court system and the juvenile protection system is that often you get nonsensical results. Like, you can have people who are consistent.
Why do we need to have this guy get up on his soapbox and be high and mighty and lecture us about the law? We don't. Nobody wants to hear it from you. You're a criminal. You're a criminal. No one wants to hear criminals lecture about law. Let me tell you the minutia of the family court system.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
You're in crime, bud.
Instantly intoxicated, or they have a home filled with like nicotine smoke, for example. And that won't be child endangerment. And it's like, well, I mean, that might be.
Wait, you're comparing having a bunch of coke laying around to people smoking ciggies
in the house, which you probably
Which I don't agree with. I don't agree with smoking in the house with kids there, obviously.
Well, wait a minute.
But,
Didn't Rekieta smoke cigars in the house?
yeah.
So you're also guilty of that, right? So let's not try and pretend that you're above that.
Someone says it gets worse. Yeah, I know. Here we go.
That's probably more dangerous in a lot of situations children are in when we get down to it. Or you can have, they'll say, for example, you can't have a controlled substance in your house, which sure, that makes sense. That's a sensible law.
It's an illegal substance.
Illegal coke. It's drugs.
You can't have it in your house. You can't have it in your car. You can't have it on your person. You can't have it anywhere.
It's
actually
illegal.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of substances in your house that are perfectly fine to have that are as dangerous or even far more dangerous
ready
to
for
children,
this
like bleach.
So bleach is just as dangerous to kids. This is ludicrous to say, people that have bleach in the house are just as bad of parents as people who are high on coke all day, who don't wash their children's clothes, who don't prepare their children meals. They're hungry and stinky, and they're reporting that to their church.
By the way, she's always on Friday Night Tights, right? And I'm pretty sure Gary is completely against Rekieta, right? For what he's doing, right? He's like disgusted by it. Imagine the optics. Do you think like anyone who wants to have you on will have you on after this? After you're sweeping from Rekieta? You better say she knows she can because FNT won't say anything about it publicly.
We'll see. If she keeps doing this stuff, eventually it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Well, and Kung Fu Wang's on point. He goes, all Nick is doing here is painting a clear picture of how depraved his household is, and if having controlled substances lying around is the exact same as having bleach in the kitchen cupboard, right? It's the exact same.
And you don't get arrested for having like a thing of bleach in the wrong place, even though that would be more dangerous to children than for example, a child stumbling across marijuana or something in one of the states where marijuana is legal or illegal.
A straw man argument, and it's actually irrelevant. It has nothing to do with his case.
Yeah, exactly.
You have the whole Tide Pod thing, right? Like
what if it was
amount
just
of
oh my god!
What if it was a Tide Pod, bro?
You're cracked out. You're crackheads. You're crackheads.
This
little
is
crackheads.
Total revisionist history. Just total, it is a scary level of sweeping. It's just absolute brainwashing, denial of reality. Let's come up with whatever excuse we possibly can that you can parrot that might sound good. It's bad, man.
That are in our house are actually there's myriad of them, but they're household chemicals, and we have an expectation that people handle those in a responsible way.
And
there
you're
is
like, look,
no
we were just using the
responsible way to do cocaine.
Are you drinking Javax? Do we have to re-watch that last stream of what you were acting
That was
like?
totally responsible. What did Chrissy say here at the end?
Coke like an OxyClean.
Okay.
And you're like, look, we were just using the Coke like an OxyClean. Just
No, I'm not admitting to or saying anything like that at all.
Right. Okay.
Another joke.
Here we go. This is like full on reality denial, by the way. This is just insane. Listen to this.
Deadpool says, you know why it doesn't matter if my home is searched? I don't use drugs and there's none in my house.
Felted.
You know what's interesting is that you may not know what's in your house.
Pause. So Rekieta's saying he had no idea there was 26 grams of cocaine upstairs. A crack pipe. Okay, a pan would tested positive for coke, a nose tube that tested positive for cocaine, money that had cocaine on it. He had a scale. He didn't know the scale was there. The stuff was in his safe. He didn't know it was in his safe, right? Really? You didn't know you had those ketamine tablets either, right? You had no idea. This is beyond, like, this is no reasonable person could believe this.
Here we go. This is fun. Not only do I know them, do I know their failures? Do I know their social security checks? Do I know their inability to...
You're coked out of your mind.
Look at it.
Look at this guy.
Look at it.
Good job from the new mom, Chrissy.
Woohoo! That's why you gotta do a spring cleaning.
You may not know what cops bring into your house either.
There it is.
Oh, it's the cops.
There it is. The cops planted it. So the cops planted all of that, right? They planted the nose tube. They planted the scale.
The AI, the video from the night before.
All of it. All of it was a complete setup by the police. Imagine actually saying this shit and thinking that you're going to win and you're going to get favorable treatment by the system. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen. He can't prove this shit.
And Chrissy has to sit there and take it.
And she doesn't go, what evidence do you have for that? Do you have anything to back up the claim? The extraordinary claim that the police planted 26 grams of cocaine along with all the paraphernalia in your house? Did they make it filthy as well? Did they make your children stink? Did they deprive them of food for days in a cell beforehand as well? Did they go around to the church and brainwash them into being a part of the conspiracy too?
Think cops brought stuff into your house?
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
Well, you're throwing. You
did say that. You did say that.
Okay.
Generally
What a
speaking, people
lie.
are like, oh, I'll consent to a search. Everything's fine. Ask a bunch of people about how well that went for them, because there's plenty of stories out there where they didn't know that something was in their house or their car or on their persons.
If he was fully sober and normal the whole time, and like there was some sort of conspiracy like that we've been like sniffing out, pardon the pun, maybe you'd be like, oh, I said for months, this guy's high on coke.
Yeah.
Don't ever consent to a search. Like that, legally speaking, there is no benefit to consenting to a search. If the
What if
cops
they have a warrant?
go to jail alive, don't die, but don't consent. Make them do their job. Make them have probable cause. People consent to search.
And they did, and they found a ton.
That's what happened with you.
Is that the cops did not have justification for all the
Look
time.
at Chrissy reading her chat, losing her mind. Everyone's like, this lying sack of shit.
Some
And the
people
thing
get
is,
burned.
like, Rekieta talks about, he has all this advice, right? But when it comes time, he talked to the police. He waived his Fifth Amendment right to be silent, to avoid incrimination, and he answered the police question in the interrogation room. He would tell you should never talk about your case on live stream, and then goes and talks about his case on dozens of live streams. Like, he doesn't follow his own advice because he thinks he's smarter than everybody. He thinks that he can get away with it all, that he can talk his way out of anything. The truth is, he's not even a smooth talker. He's not even that eloquent. He's just a boring hack bum. And everything he says is incoherent and retarded, including his legal takes. And the only people that are impressed or fooled by it are people who have no grasp of the law, not even a layman's understanding.
If you've lent your car to anybody, are you 100% sure your car doesn't have something in it? You're probably
Well,
not.
if it's me borrowing your car is gonna have.
Aaron Imholt told us everything, Nick. Everything. It all lines up. It all makes sense. You can't trick us. Look at Chrissy in this pause. Holy.
More gas when I return it to you, because that's how I roll.
Fucking oh. Keep it going.
But if people have been in your house,
So
are you 100% certain?
He would return the car of a man whose 9-year-old daughter tested positive for cocaine with more gas.
You know?
What a great deed. What a good citizen you are.
Mom of the year.
You didn't leave something in your house. Do you know? Is always a good question, especially because things like possession crimes, this person's referring to having drugs or whatever. Possession crimes require the intent to possess the drug. You have to know and intend to possess the substance that is identified as a controlled substance. The cops have to prove that. And so if you consent to a search and they find it, well, I mean, then you're defending yourself. If you,
Well, it was a warrant and they found it. So
there are mistakes in the system. There are people who get railroaded and get. You're not one of those people.
don't consent to a search. And
there was not one guy in chat who was like, "Yeah, I believe him" at all. They were all like, "Chrissy, you're retarded. Stop, please." I got 2 accounts banned.
I don't have the cause for it.
My Comedy Craze Zone account, a different one, banned. For being like, why are you hearing this? Like, why are you listening to these lies? Banned. Oh,
yeah, it's totally legit.
Hopefully they don't do it. But again, cops will always search you if they want to. You should not resist that, but you should not consent.
You're going in
to it.
circles. You're
Because-
repeating the same shit. Okay.
I hate him.
Clip.
I hate Nick so much.
There are issues with the warrant. Why not sign the release for the body cam footage? Nothing but love to Chrissy.
People have a misunderstanding about the body cam footage and a release. I haven't
Right.
seen a release for the body cam footage.
No, but you could request for it to be released, Nick,
Yeah.
and your signature would allow it to be released. Also, April could have done the same, and Josh reached out to her asking if she would sign for it, and she wouldn't do it.
footage right now, I believe, is considered confidential information as it's part of an investigation.
Pause.
And so
Also, Rekieta, we know the motions you've been making in court, right? He's relying on the ignorance of the people listening because he's an absolute charlatan. But in court, Rekieta has been making motions to suppress all evidence in the trial. He's making motions to suppress everything that would normally be public record and make it private because it's hurting his family and he's a public figure. When, for years and years, he said everything in trials should be public, it should be a transparent process so he could make money off of it, so he could grift it. But when it's his turn to have all his shit be public, he's making motions to the contrary.
Minnesota Government Data Practices Act, that body cam footage cannot be released even to me, except as part of discovery. So there isn't like a go sign a release. Like I don't have the ability to authorize the release of the body cam footage, nor does anybody else involved in it at this time. That would be when it moves from confidential information to private information.
Lie.
I'm not an expert in this area of law. I've never had to deal with it, but I believe at that point people could sign releases and have it released. If someone was told that they were going to get access to the body cam footage prior to that occurring, they were probably not told the truth. But
you mean like what you're saying right now? We're not
really
being told
is
the
a
truth.
lying liar that lies.
This is the most lying shit I've ever seen.
there's not like the state has not sent me a thing like sign this to like release the body cam footage. They've never asked me. It's never been brought up to
I
me
repeated it a second time.
in any sort of way. So people have this idea. It's like, oh, Nick, just go sign the release. Like, well, like what release? Sorry, like legitimately, I think people may have misread the statute on how this works, but I don't know. I haven't read the statute either. But no one's
I can't wait to see him in court.
Oh my god!
I can't wait to see him in court.
Oh, me too.
It's gonna be so funny.
Here
John
we go.
Kristen, did Nick please himself on stream, or is he getting a hawk tour?
God, I wish both of those were true.
Like, look at it. Rekieta, come on, bro. Come on.
Look at him.
That's the fun part of the internet, because I could tell you what I was actually
Look
doing,
at
but it might
that.
ruin the mystery.
What were you doing?
Oh.
I was falling asleep and
Okay.
passing out, and I had a wound on my leg, and I was literally
Stop.
Remember, he went.
He was pressing on his leg, guys.
No, he looked down and goes, "What are you doing right now?"
April was sucking him off under the desk.
We boosted the audio.
We heard the belt buckle come undone,
We
right?
heard the sucking.
Yeah.
And we know she's in the corner. We're not even joking. We're not even joking, by the way.
On it to get the pain response, try and stay awake. I wish I was jerking off.
Okay.
Really wish I was jerking off, but
Shut the April was there. Stop.
May sucks, Coben
Oh,
sneezes,
here we
Kenny.
go. He's not happy at this super chat, dude. You can tell he's seething. Because you don't know, there's a user on Kiwi Farms called Minnesota Public Records who every time Nick streams releases a new document dump felting Rekieta, which is really Kino.
Nick, please give his opinion on Kiwi Farms user MN Public Records, who always
Look at the photo too. It's the rage pig with a gun and the kid Diddler hat.
cucks his streams.
very interesting Kiwi Farms account. They post documents.
It's very interesting. You say you hate him and he's evil. You know, get a grip. Oh, shit.
And seem to have access to those documents before anybody knows they're around. Some of them are public and some of them aren't. I have no idea. Like, speculating on it is really weird. So,
okay. The top 2 rumors in your situation, the top couple of mistruths.
Yeah.
What would they be?
well, there's one in the chat. Donovan says Nick is a child neglector at minimum. We're not.
Yes. Yes.
By the way,
that
the
clearly
whole chat-
bothered him because it was true.
Yeah.
And he's seething. Yeah.
At minimum.
Charged with child neglect. We're not accused of child neglect at all.
What? That was in the charges.
But you are charged with that.
That's
a lie.
Actually, that's not a concern of the state in regards to us.
By
at
the
all.
way, like, your children are not with you. Your children have been taken by CPS, bud. So I don't know what you call that, but it's not good, eh?
Which again, this all comes from there's this big gap of information that occurs because the state has what it initially has.
Oh,
And
he's charged with endangerment.
Oh, wow. What a difference, bud.
Okay.
The state has its case that it builds over the course of things.
Oh, he
And,
was just endangering the kids. Okay.
we're not accused of that. In fact, the state is pretty clear. It's pretty obvious from
The state is unconcerned. The way he talks about it is basically that the state like sucks his dick, buys him ice cream. The state loves him. The state's going to give him $1 million and $1 million baldos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to be concerned about. In the end, it's the police who are going to go to jail, not me. Like, this is delusional shit.
And their interviews with us, with the children, with our family members, that isn't a concern of theirs at all. That the children love the hell out of us. We love the hell out of them. They have a.
Why were they hungry? Why were they hungry?
And
Why
stinky.
were they smelling? Like, seriously, what's going on here, bro?
Home of activity and a great environment to live in. That we're very involved with them, and
Lie.
have built a narrative based on
Facts.
Yeah, and by the way, them loving you is irrelevant.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Of course, a kid is going to probably love their parent, even if the situation is, but their judgment, like, they're children. Like, that's why adults make judgments for them. Okay?
initial reports that came in, but those reports were ignored. Initially, they were used as a basis for a search warrant, which that has its own issues to potentially.
Why are
out,
you?
but
Why are
those
you
weren't-
talking about your kid? Like, I just don't understand.
I love it.
actually the basis of anything.
The prosecution's like, yeah, baby. Keep talking.
Yeah, keep talking.
Yeah.
involving the children. Our children were removed due to an emergency placement because, again, there's a statute that says that if there's a controlled substance in a home, the child is presumptively in danger. So,
Did you know that? That could
Did I-
happen.
did I know that could happen?
You
Did you know
did.
if you had drugs? That you're...
Do you know if you're a filthy cokehead that's wasting away and literally dying on stream with powder on your nose and blood running from it, that your children might be taken away?
I think your question is a weird one to answer because there's an implication.
It's always weird.
That,
He loves that word weird.
Violating that statute. But
Yeah.
the state has to prove that we intended to violate that statute.
They will.
I think I'm just such a prude.